Hey, there goes a board. Thanks, Yurt.
Hi, everybody. This is the Track Alicia Sim Racing. It's a season start for the fall season of the GT4 series. We're at the Circuit Zolder. It's a 2.49-mile long track located at Zolder, Belgium. This track is a fun track with a mix of high and low speed corners and plenty of hard braking zones. The track starts with somewhat left-hander Eerst that leads into Storenhoek, a corner that needs a good exit for the fast right-hander known as Canal. Then it's a quick dab of the brakes and a turn into Lucian Benaki. A good exit is not only difficult here, but because the lack of runoff area, but is also very important to not get passed down the back straight. Following the straight is the Klein chicane, where whoever is brave enough to take the most curb will find success. Then it runs up a hill along the fast left-hander butte before braking heavily into the most technical part of the track, Geraldman. Getting the sequence of corners right is crucial in terms of setting a good lap time, as well as getting a good exit onto the short downhill straight. Then comes a hard braking zone into the slowest corner of the track, Boulderberg. Then it's back on the power through the Joken ranked kink and onto the main straight, back onto the brakes for the Jackie Eek chicane, and onto the pitch straight to complete a lap at the Circuit Zolder. With me, I have Jet Engleman, aka Elroy Jetson, Space Cowboy, aka Livery Legend, Jet Black, the Tennessee Tornado, and myself, Jay Alvarez. Jet, how's it going?
Doing well. I'm doing well. Hello.
So we are at the end of free practice, going into the qualifying round. Starting slightly a little bit late, but here it goes. We will be seeing who pulls out first, and you know what? We got a full roster here. Hey there, Mullen Doctor, and the Chinese Kami followed us a little bit ago, so thank you for the follow from that guy. And we will go on board to one of these drivers that is already hitting the street, but he's actually not the first one out. As we have Richie Geraldman and Josh Willis uh, first out on their outlap. Now it is something to note that this is the season start. So if you're just tuning in, this is going to be the GT4 series. All these drivers are all here to race clean, and this will be stewarded, not live though. It will be any issues that occur on track will be dealt with post race and in the penalties. So it's going to be a 10-minute quali, 30-minute race, followed by another doubleheader of a 10-minute quali race. I believe there might be a practice in there, but I'm not quite sure on that. As all these drivers are spreading out on the outlap, look how far those two drivers are ahead. The number 46 and 22 are really pulling themselves apart from the rest of the pack on their hot lap, as we still have drivers in the pits.
Yeah, this is their outlap, but they both practiced last night, and I'm sure that they both have setups saved that they were able to just maybe adjust for track temperature and grip, and be able to get out and start setting good times, get their tires warm, and really have some optimum laps as qualifying winds down.
And already going through that corner on their hot laps, we have car number 55, 53, 56, 85 all already invalidated their laps.
That is a very interesting statistic.
Well, hi, Mr. Shy Guy. Oh, looks like we got a lot of people following us. Thanks for watching. We're just starting off here for this Zolder doubleheader. So we have car number 23 is a little off track there, and 3, and car number 14, and car number 16.
We should go in for like a in-car track guide.
bit of traffic to contend with.
Yeah, so here's the back straight before the final chicane. They'll break just kind of between the 100 and that overhead sign and bridge. Looking to get out as far as they can because you do kind of lose a little grip going off and up that hill. Then here on the pit straight, they're going to kind of come out right, start to brake here just a little bit, turn in towards the apex, but still stay a little bit late. Use as much of this curve as you can. Swing back out to the left. Just a little bit of braking, but it's mostly throttle control all the way through here, looking for a good exit, which sadly that wasn't there. But as they continue kind of around this right-hander, you're going to tap and swing the car in, let the differential lock up and hit the throttle on the way out. Coming down this straight here, there's going to be a really fun, I think fun chicane that you kind of brake. I think it's about a little bit before the 100. Depending on what car you have, that'll kind of dictate how much curve you can take and what kind of exit you get. I really liked it in the Nissan, but I also liked it in the Ferrari.
Hey there, I'm Eric. Thank you for the follow. And it should be noted, Jet, that Richie Geraldman's only P3 now. He has dropped off from Anirudh Sundar, who now holds pole position with a 137.3, with Riley Manier at a 137.6.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting the order to change quite a bit between now and the end of the session.
And unfortunately, Richie Geraldman has invalidated his second lap there, so I'm just going to pull off of him and look at the pole sitter right now. And Anirudh Sundar, car number 55 with the Betelgeuse team.
Yes, Betelgeuse, Beetlejuice, both. All. I really do like that livery. Love the colors.
It is something to note that Sundar's already 2 tenths off his time right now as he's going through this chicane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he pushes on this next lap. He's just going to have to kind of find a compromise, and I know he's going to find ways to extract more time. Just come from.
Yep, and he's already done that through that first corner as Mitch McConnell has taken P2 with a 137.2. Anirudh Sundar even dropped his time, retaking P1 again. And the one contender that we were really looking forward to here is Ellard Mesa, car number 240, with the NAPS team, North American Peruvian Sim team. He is a very strong driver. One of the public lobby guys that we recruited who has particularly like insanely alien times sometimes. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up on this board because he is a top 5 driver for sure. And
it looks like he's
one of
having
the best.
a good lap. Yeah, it looks like he's having a good lap through traffic. So if he gets enough clean air ahead of him, I'm excited to see what kind of times he can put down. And the BMW in the GT4 is a really, really good car.
And it should be noted in the qualifying, we've already had a couple incidences from car number 56 that collided with the number 5. Car number 82 has also had an incident by themselves. "31 drivers that are lined up in this series today. That's it's pretty interesting. This is probably the max that I've personally seen, but for opening day, this is very promising.
Yeah, for GT4, that's great. I really do personally love GT4 racing. I know a lot of other guys in the league do as well. It's going to be a really good season, I think, and a lot of unpredictable scenarios now that we have new but also fast drivers and new drivers of all skill ranges.
So as you mentioned before, Jet, car number 240 has been through traffic through his hot laps. This is his first time he's going to actually have a pretty wide margin to actually make some moves. He's already 3 tenths off his time, and he's building that gap even further.
Ooh, looks like he got a bad exit on the straight. That's going to hurt his time.
He definitely just lost that entire advantage he just gained.
It's rough. I don't know if he was. It looked like maybe there was some sort of off in front of him that might have taken him off of where he was going, or he was just going to slow down and avoid it. But he'll get back around with another chance. So I would expect another really good shot.
Yeah, and we don't see his time improving here through the deltas, so we're gonna just pull off of him and look at somebody who's retaken pole position as he goes off
He
into
goes off the
the pole.
track.
That is Richie Geraldman with a 137.029. And it looks like he's going to stay in the pits while we have Mitch McConnell with still holding P2. See what he does here. As well as Josh Willis, who's was in P4, just got taken out by Masachero. D. Masachero, car number 85, now holds a 137.1.
This is fun. This is exactly what we were hoping for throughout the offseason, was finding people to fill in slots and make our races exciting, and to have that level of talent up and down the grid, where as the race progresses, you're going to have different battles all along, literally around the whole track.
And one thing to note here is that from P1 to P15, all these drivers hold a 137 something. So they're all within, spitting distance of each other, and it's strong contention that we have a lot of drivers at the 137.1s right now, and Elroy Mesa right now, who we're looking at, has hold the best sector time for not only sector 1, 2, and 3. He's just never collected it together.
Yeah. And now he's run into traffic, which is rough. And there's a yellow flag ahead, it looks like. So we'll have to see how those affect his his lap time. But it's a bummer. He had that little miscalculation there in the second lap when he had the clean air. Luckily, we have another race after this one to see what he'll get for a time, and it's a 30-minute race. So if he's as clean and consistent as we've been hearing, I think he'll gain some positions and find himself towards the front of the pack.
Yes, absolutely. And it's unfortunate for him, but he is going to only be holding P8 as a starting through this qualifying. So we have all of the drivers finally coming into an end. With Honorud Sundar is in P4. He was holding P1, but he is coming closer towards that end. We'll see if he can actually make up any additional time here to pull ahead.
Yeah, you have to go down to 16th place to be out of a second behind the pole position, which that's a really tight pack. That really bodes well for a good race. I mean, that's 15 cars making it across the line in 2 beats of your favorite EDM track,
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race entirely, knowing that that's the case here. As we have car number 67, whom no, I don't think he was able to finish. I think we're sitting at the end there. Going through, we have Munir in P1, Geraldman P2, McConnell P3, Sundar P4, Masachero 5 and 6. That's interesting. Those two are teammates. Willis P7, Mesa P8, Raza P9, Miller P10. It's just looking down this list, from 1 to 8, they're only 2/10 off of their times. That's going to be insane when we see these drivers go through this.
I don't think we've ever seen a quali like this in the history of our server with that many people that close. That's a great looking grid right there.
I believe it. It'll be interesting to see how this first 2 laps go, because that's where all of the issues start to arise. We got 2 minutes 28 seconds till the start of this race. We have 30-minute race. It looks like the track is fast. Track temp is 30 degrees Celsius. Winds at 9 kilometers per hour. Kilometers, yeah. And yeah, uh, I'm kind of nervous. I've never seen this many drivers hold such a close position towards each other, and we don't even have the fastest drivers at the top of the grid. From what quali showed us, there was drivers that were super fast that were just unable to get a good lap down.
Yeah, that's part of the game, though. That's part of your strategy that you have to try to find when you're in your qualification session. But when you have this many drivers, it's kind of tough to find a open space in the field when you've got some pretty big deltas between the very top and the very bottom. But yeah, you just got to do what you can, and again, it's a 30-minute race. So if people are fast and consistent, I think they're going to find their way to where they belong in the pack.
Yeah, I agree. And what we can see already is we have the TWP racing team has a guy in pole position as well as they're back there at I believe uh, where's that out on the grid? 8 and 9. Yeah, and then is that Andres? So only one of the drivers. So it's technically all three of these drivers are in the same boat. So we have
30 seconds.
P5, P6, and P8. They're the only team that has scored their entire, besides TWP, that has put their drivers all in the top 10 through quality.
20 seconds.
And technicality, Flying Lizard has done the same.
Because he is the only driver
10 seconds.
with his team on the grid right now. So we see Rich Energy is back there in, I'm not even sure, 10, 11. We're gonna stay on Helocam. Are we doing a full formation lap? That's the real question. I believe so.
Yeah, with GT4s, I think it's a little with this track temp. It'll be helpful to have a full formation lap because they don't have tire warmers. So while they're sitting out there, the tires are just kind of turning into ice cubes. So this gives the drivers a chance to put a little heat in the tires, maybe use the brakes to generate heat in the center of the wheel, which airs the tires up and gets them close to a good PSI.
You can see the Betelgeuse team have a driver in P3 and in P4, so that's good news for that team. One thing you'll notice is that while these drivers are driving for themselves, they are also driving with their team. So they're sitting in a garage right now with the three-man teams just talking strategy, talking tire pressures, what kind of map they're going to run, as well as like what the weather has to hold. For a 30-minute race, I don't think they're going to have to worry about changing tires, but there is going to be team orders. How can these drivers best defend their positions, or at least have one driver stay in the lead while defending against the other encroaching faster drivers?
It will be interesting because we do have rules in our league against blue flag team orders. So you do have to be on the front lap to be able to have any sort of strategy in the first place. But again, this early and with however many drivers we have with such close times, I think drivers are just going to be really looking to maintain their own pace because they can't get caught really slacking. They're going to have to keep it tight if they don't want to get overtaken too easily while they're in a battle of their own. So I'm looking for minimal team orders, I think, but we'll have to see how it pans out.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before, though, when the driver gets in the lead and his teammate is right alongside him in P2. you've seen P2 allow that draft so that there's a bigger buildup that goes for P1, allowing for the driver, his teammate, to get a stronger lead against their opponent. So it's hard to say, but we have seen it in the past where these drivers have followed a strategic team order for the number one to stay number one.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to see how that works out since
Green, green,
I think
green.
Riley's next teammate is a little ways back, but
We go through this first corner, it still looks clean.
very clean. Got a few different lines, but it looks like all drivers are carrying their speed pretty well. Nothing too.
We have Chronotis and Eric Gukasian still in the pits. That doesn't bode well for them as they pull out now.
That is a very, very tight gap right there between Willis and Mastachero.
Oh, as we see some contact from the TWP team as well as Mesa.
It looks like everyone made it out okay. I think that's one of the really good benefits of GT4 racing.
Off through that chicane. Take a look at Burkhoff, who's a very strong driver with the Greendale Community College team as he's going in. This grid has not shown to be, there's not a lot of gaps forming. There's been a couple racing incidences so far. We have a number of drivers that have made contact with each other. At least 9 drivers have made contact with another 9 drivers. So I would go through that in total, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have time. As we see, Santiago Orozco has gone off the track.
This is it's a great race so far. Look at these gaps. They're all 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. You got a couple here that are a second or so, but everybody's keeping it tight and keeping it clean. I hope it keeps that momentum, and we see some good battles and some good overtakes here as people start to settle in.
There is just a number of drivers, and somebody just went off into the corner. That is, oh my gosh, that's car number 188 and 84.
Like perhaps King and maybe Chan got into each other there in the chicane as well.
Take a look at the top 4 here. So we have a lot of drivers that continually are struggling through the pack. Looks like Josh Willis has dropped down to P13. Something must have happened there. That driver was P5. Or... no, he's P8. So he was above Miller there. But it's good of Sundar and Mitch McConnell. They've swapped places. Now Henrik Sundar is P3 and Mitch McConnell's P4. But these drivers are going to just probably try to maintain pace, keep safe, clean laps in.
Yeah, and they do have a team behind them, an entire team behind them. So here, now we are already looking at what you've already talked about with team orders. Can they double up their width and use the track to their advantage? And you really got to kind of watch out what your non-racing line is when you have cars that are trying to do that. But yeah, you could be actually looking at team orders now. You were right.
Well, thank you for the follow. I don't know if I'm going to say the name entirely, but by 90, thanks for the follow. Do appreciate that. It's the season start of the Tracklicious GT4 series for the fall season.
It does look like
Ooh.
Riley Manier is
We see that
extending his gap.
they're side by side right now, but Richie Geraldman is in trouble as Honoré Sundar comes on the inside and takes that position. Is he going to be able to hold it? So now we have the Betelgeuse team has a sandwich against Rich Geraldman here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out coming down the straight with different braking points. Ooh, man, that's close contact. That was so close.
Some contact right there.
Actually, I don't know if I did see any, but Geraldman had a great exit, being able to take a little bit more of the curve with his front engine car.
They did have an incident. It's just showing that Geraldman did make contact during that exchange. As you can see, the Masachero drivers, car number 16 and 85, they're holding strong next to these drivers, as well as Mesa,
P40.
P7.
Yeah, the entire team is right there.
That is a breakout team. These drivers are also trying to pull ahead right now.
What a great race. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. 3 wide.
This, yeah. Wow.
This team is really trying to
Great,
make it
great
known.
battle.
Oh, and
man, they're picking them apart now. That's wow. That's great. What an awesome looking race right here. Little incident, little contact right there.
yeah, McConnell's really struggling to hold it against these 3 drivers as they are all 3 trying to make moves on each other as well as this driver. That was a little bit of bullying done on that straightaway. He didn't have much gap there.
Yeah. What you don't want to see is you don't want to see too much in-team battling that slows each other down from being able to get around the guy ahead. I think if they take Mitch one at a time and let each other attack him, at some point they could all three get around him, especially as once one gets around.
Richie Geraldman and Honoré Sundar have contact. That takes them both out right now. They're struggling as they continue.
Oh man.
To find their pace. There's going to be a lot of drivers going through that chicane. There's no way they're going to safely get back on this track. They are going to be down the leaderboard as Honoré jumps down. So does Geraldman. Pulling back, we have Mitch McConnell in P2 with 3 drivers behind him. The Naps team. Oh, you hate to see it, especially in the start of a race. It's 22 minutes left on the clock. Honoré Sundar and Geraldman in P13 and 16. Oh, that's one incident can really just shape the entire race for you right there.
That hurts. Yeah, especially very, very first race out of the gate in the season. You like to get off to a good start and kind of have that mental, we can't do it attitude, and that can really start to mess with you. So hopefully they bounced back and figure things out, maybe make their way back up the pack, have a good race too. I guess we'll have to see.
Oh, absolutely. I think Josh Willis is from the Third Eye team is one of those drivers you're seeing that right now. He was in the top in under P10. I think he was P8 originally, and he's holding P10. But this is a driver that really had to make his way back as he has made that overtake right there, and he's now P9 behind his teammate Ray Frias.
It looks like he's doing a really good job controlling that Porsche now. He's finding some pace. Obviously, his exit on that chicane right there was really, really good. He's able to figure out just how much curb he can take without upsetting the car. But Yeah, he's really extracting some pace out of that Porsche. I hope he gets back into maybe the top 5, top 6 battle.
As we can see a very frustrated Honored Sundar is pulling back from P16, making that overtake. Just takes P15 from Jay Bravo there. It's now going to be moving up against Constable Cody Wassam in car number 188. As he...
Was there contact there?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Maybe he just outbroke and had to...
It looks like he outbroke himself on that because it is showing that he had a little bit of an incident there. We'll pull back away from that cam and take a good look at him. He, because he probably has damage from that.
Yeah,
he might just lost some aero and that he's trying to fight his car more than anything else. Hey, thank you, Andrea, for the follow. Going back to the race leads here, we have Riley Manier, who has a total 5-second gap from P2, so I don't think this driver's worried right now about anybody really coming into attack. So we have Mitch McConnell has 3 cars from the Naps team, all on a team just really they were aggressive at one point, and there were a little bit of bump and grind bullying that happened on the straightaway. They're definitely going to try to make their mark as a team to get by this driver.
Yeah, I think if they're on team radio, they need to be talking about just getting past Mitch one at a time.
And the one thing we should say about Andres Masachero and his brother Diego Masachero, these drivers have stated already that they are slow drivers, and they're holding P3 and 4. I think they're just playing some mind games, because my tires are dead, Bono, is what's really happening when these guys talk.
Yeah, I think they're sharks, definitely.
And we are already going to be approaching some lap traffic from the car number 27. Oh no, sorry. That's actually P1. I was looking at a totally different screen here. And somebody said, "Let's go, Raza."
He'll be the one approaching the traffic, so.
Absolutely. So we'll just pull back out to a different view here and take a look at where Raza is at on the board. Raza is P9. Josh Willis has overtaken his teammate as well as Raza. He is holding P8 right now. And he is 0.4 off the time of Trev Hummer.
He looks to be closing in. I don't think it'll be too long. Yep, Riley's got about a 5-second gap from McConnell, and we've also got a gap building between 9 and 10. And it looks like we've also got a pretty big gap between 5 and 6. It looks like it's going to be Riley kind of battling himself for a while. Then we've got 2 through essentially 5.
You have a lot of drivers in the backfield that are still really close together, though. As we see one of the drivers, car number 314, had a little racing incident there.
Starting to wonder if maybe Miller is a little bit of it looks like there might have been contact between Willis and Trev Hummer that sent Trev Hummer spinning.
No, Trev Hummer's 404 shows that he had an incident of his own. It shows no other driver involved in that incident.
Wow.
Josh Willis now holds P7 as Trev Hummer is going to be down in P14 with a P10. It's dropping down at P13 with 14.
Yeah, he's
Just-
got a
it's just
heavily
keeps-
damaged car. I expect him to not be able to keep the same pace as a lot of these other drivers around him now, sadly.
Absolutely. And Honored Sundar is also one of those drivers that's also taken some damage right off the start through one of those chicanes. Who was holding P2. Unfortunately, he is now, or holding P3, excuse me, as Trev Hummer goes into the pits as Bravo
We
and
also have
Sundar
Dave
just.
yeah, you hate to see it.
Yeah. It's car number 67 in 55 who has just made contact through that corner. Bravo sticks his drive, though, and is continuing on as Constable Cody Wasson goes by Sundar.
Sadly, Bravo outbroke himself there and got his nose too far into the chicane and just went instantly wide right into Sundar.
Yeah, make no mistake, these three drivers they're vipers, man. They're holding steady lines and they're ready to go. I can't wait to see what happens here.
You know, as a team, they might just be perfectly fine taking 3, 4, and 5 as long as they know they can stay safe, because that is a lot of points.
Yeah, and unfortunately, due to the racing rules for this series and for Tracklicious Sim Racing,
You do only get 2, but
you only get 2. So you only get P3 and P4 as Elroy Mesa has passed his teammate Masachero. So maybe they're looking to get their fastest driver out in front, and that's what happened there when they let him by. There it goes. I think he let him by. I think Diego let Elroy by. Or sorry, Elroy Mesa.
Yeah, I think they're trying to find a way to do that without losing time themselves, so that they can all stay really close and get a chance. It's interesting to see this battle, as you can tell where the BMW kind of edges the Porsche, and you can also tell where the Porsche is able to edge the BMW. But these are two really, really great cars. So this battle might just go on for laps and laps.
Yes, we'll pull slightly away to go to some of the drivers in the backfields. We still have 32 drivers in this race right now. A couple of them already have been marker there. As we see some damage from that, I think that was the Orozco's car? Or Hummer's car? No? Let's go to the relatives here. Who's actually around this man? That's Jerry Shurik in the McLaren. He's in P27. He's got some damage to that front end. You can clearly see looks like he might have had an incident early on. And going by the board, it does look like Jerry Shirk has had an incident with car number 14, as well as an incident with himself, as well as car number 86, as well as himself, and another incident where he was maybe not at fault, but with car 76, as well as car 76 again. He has had no good luck this race.
No, but again, that right there, where he poked his nose in's a little bit unsafe. I think he's got to kind of figure out where he wants to make good racecraft moves if he wants to be able to stay clean. In a chicane like that, where not a chicane, but a really tight hairpin, drivers are really, really depending on the widest line they can get, so they stay outside. When you dive in like that, not only does it slow them down, it slows you down too, and nobody really wins out of that. So we're gonna have to see how he develops through the season and finds maybe just a little bit more racecrafty ways to get around and overtake, because he does have speed. I've seen him. He does have pace.
Oh, Oh,
Oh, we've got
Mike
more
Burkhoff goes in
content.
the wall. Ray Free is. Oh no. And Mike's going to try to recover there, but he is down at least to P13 with that move right there.
Man, it looks like there's even more contact here. This is interesting. These are usually all three of these guys are usually pretty good drivers, and I know Mike usually does try to stay safe. So uh, I hope that he's able to shake it off and continue to battle.
Well, absolutely. As Richie Geraldman is definitely going to try to have a go at Ray Free, as he was also a driver that was starting in the top 5 and had an incident with another driver that is not even shown on the list right now because Honored Sundar is down.
Down to 15th.
Yeah, and we see Raza. Look at him with the TWP Racing. And it should be noted that TWP Racing has 3 teams in the GT4 series. They have an Alpha, Beta, and Charlie team. So, props for them for going the extra mile to try to win some points. But you're definitely going to see a lot of these liveries on the track today. Those Aston Martins are a dime a dozen in this league.
Yeah, they really are. And if I was home, there'd be one more out there, I guess. So, yeah, it's fun to see. It looks the gap between Miller and Andres Mastachero is obviously widening. So, might
Yeah,
start
10
to see a
seconds.
little bit of traffic kind of gain behind Miller, but with the pace that everybody's at, it's going to be hard to get around. You're gonna kind of see.
There it is. It just
Yeah, there
happened
you go.
right on that straightaway, but we have Mitch now holding P3 as Mesa goes ahead of him.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well for Mitch if Mesa can kind of hold him here just a tiny bits here and there and let his teammates catch up. All three of them will be able to get around him uh, pretty easily if they play their cards right.
We have Jorge Barrera, Baby Rat, and McLaren's just not going to be able to go anywhere as he's dropping down in positions to 27, 28. He must have had an incident there. Significant damage as another TWP Racing comes around the corner. Looks like that's going to be T Hummer.
Yeah, and sadly, in these mid-engine cars, when you ruin that front aero on a track like this, especially in Sector 1, where you've got some kind of more sweeping right-handers that really depend on front downforce. It might not feel like you're going to lose time, but sadly, you'll be losing time. You'll see your delta slowly start to drop off, even though you're pushing the car. You feel understeer. It might feel stable, but you'll feel it. You'll feel that, or you'll see that time drop.
While we slightly went away to Jorge Barrera, car number 2, 3, and 4 is now the Naps team.
Told ya.
They were able to use McConnell and push through him as a team, using their what they would consider their fastest driver to push out in front. And now we have the North American Peruvian Sim team holding great position as Mesa, who is holding great times, actually has the fastest time on track right now than even Riley Manier. With still 6 minutes and 23 seconds to go, he's got to cut a gap of 9 seconds, which he slightly already is right now.
Yeah, 9 seconds it's probably a bit too much in 6 minutes, but it's a great pace and a great race. And now that he's got clean air, his whole team really has clean air. So if they just stay consistent, they don't have any mistakes, they're going to pick up points for 2 and 3 and fill that podium up behind Manier.
Yeah, with a track that's optimum now, it's if they had great tires and they managed correctly, they could probably start pulling ahead and try to gain distance. As Ellard Mesa in P2 is already closing the gap to 8 seconds. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's about 9 flat. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at about a second a lap, you're still going to be a
Not
little
enough
too far
time.
behind.
Yeah, not enough time. You'd have to see some egregious driving by Riley Minier, and I don't think you're going to see it.
That would be very atypical.
Yeah. As P6, 7, and 8 are really holding together. We thought there was going to be more drivers that were going to be holding steady with each other, but it just doesn't seem to be the case. We have a Jay Barrera who has just gone off into the pits, as well as Norman Chan is also in the pits. So a lot of damage has occurred. Incidences that have continued. We have car number 21 and 240. So that was Barrera. I'm sorry, Mesa.
Oh, was there contact there?
Taking a look here, it looked like he had a little incident of his own. 21. Oh, that was
Yeah.
a little bit ago. So him and Mitch McConnell had a little incident.
Ross has fallen down the order. It looked like he might have had some sort of off when he was battling with, I believe it was Frias.
He was battling Josh Willis there. So Josh now holds P7 with Eric Miller in front of him. These two drivers were teammates at one point, so he probably knows a little bit how this driver is going to react to any move he's going to make.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if there's enough time to really study. I mean, yes, they were teammates, but now that they're in two different cars, the availability of attacks is going to be different. So to be able to study Miller long enough and be able to make an overtake in 3 minutes is a little bit optimistic, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sort of opportunity taken.
Yeah, and it looks like I believe this is lap traffic. No, Eddie Chan is still holding P13 against Honored Sundar.
Yeah, you have to go down to, I think we've got 20 cars on the 20. Yeah, 22 cars are almost on the first lap, it looks like.
He's really close to that driver going through the chicane. Wonder if Honory's going to try to make a move on him soon. But Chan is driving pretty defensively, maintaining his line in that inside corner, so...
Yeah, I was looking for the switchback move there from Sundar, but maybe he just wasn't able to peek in and really make the most of his exit. But if he keeps poking in and trying to take that wide way around in the Porsche, I think he'll find success after so long. But again, time's ticking. So yeah, if Chan just kind of runs his race and worries about kind of keeping the inside and not giving up any of those just easy, mid-sector overtakes, he could still wind up with that. Oh, it looks like did he fall off now? It looks like Chan has fallen back.
Yeah, Chan has fallen, and it looks like he is in the pits.
Interesting.
We're going to be seeing a lot of that, though. Especially with 1 minute left in the race, drivers that have, found their frustration through an incident might just drop out completely.
Sure. I would caution drivers with 20 places earning points that if you still have a shot at that top 20 with a minute left after driving 29 minutes already, I would try to find a way to stay out on the track. Sometimes it's not possible. I guess we didn't see what the incident was, but
Yeah, as Hendrick goes off right there. That driver was very close to this pack that's in front of him. You got Mike Burkhoff in P10, Jason Provo in P11, A. Raza P12, and Honorud Sundar in 13, and they're really close.
yeah, this Provolone and Burkhoff battle could be good because those are two drivers that are probably, I would say, pretty closely matched for pace. So I would keep an eye on this as we get this last lap.
Yeah, they are very close. And looking at it right now, the race lead is about 7 seconds off of P2. And keep in mind that the overall that you're looking at is the benchmark for every sector that they go through. But I have some live timing that I'm looking at, and Mesa has closed the gap a little bit, but not enough to time to do anything about it.
Looks like Provolone lost a little time on his exit out of that chicane there. Oh, here comes, now, wow, this is a really good battle. Let's see how Miller defends here coming into this last sector. Does he let him stick his nose in? Oh.
And that is it, folks. Riley Manier in P1, car number 27, has won the first of the doubleheader as Ellard Mesa takes
Oh,
P2.
look at this battle here.
Oh!
That is too bad. Miller is going to be able to take it. I think Josh outbroke himself. I know that that's a line that you can take in the Porsche if you are clear, but he wasn't clear, and sadly that slowed him down.
Yikes. That is Josh Willis holding P9 with Richie Geraldman, yeah. Let's see here. We have, P9. So Riley Manier P1, Ellard Mesa P2, Masachero P3. Mitch was able to get between those two cars, so that's very good for Mitch McConnell and his team. So P5 is Masachero, Eric Miller P6, Ray Freese P7, Richie Geraldman P8, Josh Willis P9 after that incident that occurred in the last corner. Mike Burkhoff P10, Provolone P11, and the list goes on. You can see it there: Raza, Sundar, Pickrell, and they're still coming around as a lot of these drivers are finishing up this race. Just take a
That was definitely a tough finish there for Willis as he tried to really attack that inside. I think obviously hindsight's 2020, and he's can look back and say he would have probably just been better off keeping the position that he was in instead of pushing so hard. But
yes, and we do have a driver that has a 30-second drive-through penalty that's going to be added to his time, so he probably is going to be finishing even further back. So I'm trying to figure out who that driver is that's still sitting on the track. It's car number 44, who's just in the Ginetta, is still sitting there. Welps Cakes asked, what do you guys use for timing? We're using the ACC race control. So once you get onto a spectator role on the server, you can just automatically connect through this race control program, and it will allow you to look at the live timing, the sector times, when it's qualifying, their best and last time, laps, camera changes, incidents, as well as a lot of other things. We should be able to pull these drivers in for a quick commentary on their performance as we'll go through. And let's just see here. And who was in P3? Is that Masachero?
Yeah, Andres Masachero. I wonder what the incident was that took Eddie Chan. Looks like he still might have finished P20, interestingly. So he might have still gotten a point.
Baller, that's on race department. Yeah, I believe it's on race department. I remember just googling. Well, okay, I just remember googling it specifically, the race control, and finding it pretty easily. So, um, yeah, once you download that, I think you just extract the file and just keep it somewhere where you know you're just gonna have that file because for whatever reason I couldn't make a shortcut of it. I just had to keep going to that file to start it up to get good spectator results there. And we are joined by the race lead, Riley Manier, who had a phenomenal drive and one that held himself about 7 seconds off of P2.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Congrats on the win. It looked like just the speed and consistency that we're used to seeing from you again paid off. How do you feel about the drive?
I think towards the end, I could see Mesa was starting to catch me, so maybe his tires kind of either came in or he's just fast as hell. But the two other guys that were racing behind me, I think it was Sundar and Richie. Those two got into a battle, and I just was able to pull away because I think all the cars behind me were battling. So that's why I was able to get that gap.
Yeah, there was quite a few interesting incidences behind you, specifically between Sundar and Richie, as well as um, a really tight battle between the entire Naps racing team and what ended up becoming Mitch McConnell once he got kind of put on his own. So it was, again, like your ability to qualify P1 and get out ahead really was able to suit you for this race. It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully you can repeat that this next session because it does look like Mesa was starting to catch. So
yeah, and that's something.
What a qualifying session! Just the top 5 separated by less than a tenth. That was incredible. That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had to go back to 16th place to get within out of a second. It was crazy.
Wow, just very impressive. I'm excited to see the field that we have here.
Yeah, the whole race was actually really good. But obviously, all of that happening in your rear view mirror. So again, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yep, thanks,
but
guys.
also with Mesa, he was involved in some dirty traffic and dirty air traffic through quali. He was unable to get an actual lap time down. He was the best in sectors 2 and 3 at one point, as well as sector 1, but just continually falling behind on quali pace because there's just really no room for him to grow. But as soon as he was able to get ahead of not only Mitch McConnell but his own teammates in that clean air, you could clearly see that this driver was pulling closer. And I think it's going to be very interesting for the next qualifying round to see if he can get closer to you. Then he will definitely see a different battle take place.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm
good
really
luck
hoping
on this
he
next
finds some
one.
more traffic. I'm really hoping he finds some more traffic. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you,
care.
Riley. Thank you, Riley.
Riley. All right. So that was Riley Manier, and since we have about 8 minutes here, we'll quickly go to some replays and take a look at what actually happened. I think we can start with
The movie.
oh, look at that. Mesa.
It's
Yes.
congrats on P2.
Sure. Thank you. This is P2, but I think I'm about to get a penalty though.
Yes, it looked like you kind of got into some traffic in quali, and you still, even with traffic, your top lap in qualification was nothing to gloss over. It was still a pretty good lap. It looked like once you got some team orders and you were able to kind of get through your own team traffic and get around Mitch McConnell, you really found some pace. Are you looking to stay closer to the 1-2 spot as we get into the next session?
It wasn't really team orders. It was just it happens that I get a better run out of T1, and it just made sense for me to go and pass my teammate. At the moment, just starting the season, trying to get a to see how everybody is in racing. I know he's trying to first learn, and we'll see how it goes. We'll try to be consistent. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, your consistency as a team was not only impressive, but when you finally were able to get that free air, you're able to really start to reel in P1. So, do you think it was just your qualifying round that really put you in a bad spot in the to begin with?
Yes, for sure. Qualifying it was tough. I think I was trying to get a fastest lap on my last lap, but I got caught with traffic. So I couldn't really make a pass. I would ruin the guy's lap. So I think I finished eighth. I think it was. So
Oh,
that's what happens. With with a lot of traffic. It's part of the game.
It looked like maybe there was a little contact
yeah,
there
there's
with
a little.
Willis.
A traffic with contact with who?
Josh Willis, he was car number 22. It looks like you guys were going through that last turn into the straightaway. Um,
Lap one.
and yeah, well,
Well, for the race, I was qualifying.
Lap 2 of the race. It looks like
Yes,
you're right beside him and you push him right out of the way.
Well,
yeah, I was thinking that that the car will accelerate at the same time as I did, and there was a difference in acceleration, and that caught me off guard. I was like, ah, fuck.
Yeah,
So
you can tell you definitely had the better exit. I mean, watching your whole team drive just kind of in that 3, 4, 5 position behind Mitch making that attack. I mean, you guys all looked really consistent. You had the same lines. It was really really interesting to see a team with such a tight pace between all three of you. We're really excited to see how your team does this season. And so far, after one race, you guys are winning the team championship. So,
hey, thank you.
Congrats on a great
congratulations.
race, and we hope to see even more as we get into the next session.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Thanks,
you guys.
Mesa. Yep.
Thank you.
And as we rounded out, it was his teammate Masachero, who was also P3. As we go to the race results, you can clearly see. Going off the times, though, it's really going to be interesting who actually had the fastest lap through all of that. Was it? I want to say it was Mesa, but unsure of that. We will go back to the race itself. They're still in practice, but it's going to be probably a couple minutes left on practice before you get into a 10-minute qualifying and then another 30-minute race. I think for that being the first race of the GT4 series, we saw not only like a lot of incidences. Like there's no shortage of incidents.
Was that the McLaren I saw right there for a second?
Yeah, it was the McLaren. Yeah, I do have that set as the only livery I can technically use.
That's really funny. Yeah, no, it's interesting as you see. We do have a lot of new drivers and a lot of vets, and we also have talent that ranges as well. And it's the very, very first race of the season, so people are trying to kind of feel each other out, not just for pace, but for racecraft, and to kind of see what kind of drivers that they're surrounded by that might have the same pace. So as you see different strategies and different attacks between different cars and just different performance throughout the racetrack, yeah, you're likely to see some contact in a 30-minute race with just as many cars.
Oh, absolutely. And with 2 minutes 35 seconds left to go on free practice, we will be starting this qualifying very shortly.
Interesting livery.
Yeah, Kate. Sorry, I should focus on two different things here. The Twitch chat, Kate's also GT4s are great for racing close, but also the lack of aero grip makes tight racing a challenge. GT4 less sensitive to door banging, so thumbs up on that one. Yeah, Jet, what are your thoughts on that?
That's absolutely why I love GT4. Yes, the front grip does kind of affect um, a little bit of the car stability if we were talking having a GT3 suspension, but the GT4 more it's a lot closer to road car suspension. um, on as a whole, the car really works well to still provide for good racing, even with that difference in aero. I mean, that's the performance up and down the car between the GT4 and GT3. There's a lot of differences that even though you only have a few seconds difference in lap time, you're looking at something much closer to its road car counterpart, which it's a lot tougher to upset because they don't depend on rear diffuser, like that vacuum underneath the car, the same way that a GT3 does. So it's a lot harder to truly upset these cars, and you get better racing. Like you said, door banging, my favorite.
Okay, sorry about that, Jet. I just had to step away for a second.
Oh, no worries.
Love trucking. Yeah, I think Jet already stated that as well, Whelps, that one of the things that really best suits anyone's driving is to really take those curbs hard and with some confidence, and then you'll definitely see a difference there.
Yep. Again, it depends. It depends on the car, but more so across GT4, even the mid-engine, rear-engine cars that don't have that front weight to keep the front tires on the ground so much, because of the road suspension and the ride height. These cars have a lot more bounce, as well as tire flex, sidewall flex. That even those cars are able to take more curb than a GT3 style counterpart. So that's where you are able to make up a little bit of time on these cars.
You know, it really just comes down to what car is best suited to really just send through those curbs.
Yeah, I mean, you're still looking at Mercedes, Astons. They're usually pretty good. But yeah, you'd be surprised at the amount of curb that you can take in the Porsche. You're able to control and have that kind of rear engine understeer that gives you that stability to push through.
As per the last qualifying we had, Richie Geraldman with the TWP Racing is leading this outlap in front of Jerry Sherrick.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some drivers time their exits out of the pit. When you've got this entire, um, 30 some odd car field, I believe now, with about a minute 30 lap time, you're looking at having about a 3-second gap if you want cars all the way around the racetrack. So you're not really able to find a whole lot of time and pace in that kind of traffic if everybody's evened out and you've got 3 to 4 seconds, 5 seconds from top to bottom.
Yeah, and as we did notice, Ellard Mesa, who was able to take P2, definitely had a racing incident involved with Josh Willis, who was in I think P5 at the time.
Yeah, we were looking for what that incident was. It looks like we found it.
Yeah, we did find it, and it'll be interesting to see where he's gonna shake up with the point system being what it is, if he's going to maintain his P2 status post Stewart tops.
Yeah,
'cause-
I would imagine that type of contact is probably a 3-second penalty. So yeah, that he might fall down now that we've seen that. We'll have to see how it is, but provisionally, he's still in P2 until all that gets sorted out.
and Ellard Mesa. We'll just go on board with him just because I'm really interested because he's a newer driver to our series and we don't know much about him. So let's just get on board with him and see how he takes this lap now that he's built a big gap to the next driver.
Well, you can tell already he uses the entire width of the track through every turn. He is getting the maximum amount of turn-in speed that he can by widening out his radius. So he's got a very good feel for where the car is on track, and I'm really excited to see how this lap progresses. Able to brake, I would say, later than probably a lot of the other cars into that chicane.
Yeah, and with a 3-second gap in front of him, I think he's going to be fine pulling ahead and actually getting a good race pace in on this. Sorry, quality pace.
Yeah, this is looking like it's shaping up to be a great lap already. He's definitely catching up to whoever's in front of him. So I'm hoping that by the time he finishes this lap, that it's a good time and he's able to stick with it because he's going to have trouble finding that gap again for a while.
Absolutely. As you're looking at the track, people are all over the place. There's really no good position to be in except car 67, possibly, and 46 are the only drivers that really have a clean break from everybody.
Yeah, you got 15, and it looks like maybe 25 or 26.
He is on provisional pole at P3 with Honored Sundar taking P1 and Riley Manier in P2 with a 0-1-2 off of the P1. That is insane.
Yeah, I would imagine that those they might even tighten up as we still have 5.5 minutes, and I would expect even more drivers. As Riley Manier said post race that we had so many drivers within a tenth. It could very well be that way again.
So one thing I wanted to throw to you, Jet, is that Honored Sundar was fastest through Sector 1 with a 33.1, but Ellard Mesa was fastest through Sector 2 and 3 in the purple with a 31.4 and then a 32 flat. The driver has 2 sections of this track down faster than any other driver on right now. It's really going to be interesting to see if he can't pull off a faster pace than that. As we see some traffic for Honored Sundar there, that's not going to be good for him as he's already down on his delta. And Riley Manier has invalidated his lap that he's now on. And Mesa's 2.5 seconds off of his time because it's probably running into some traffic again.
Yeah, it was very interesting that the entire racetrack is covered in cars.
Josh Willis takes P3 or P5 here. Mitch McConnell is in P4. As Eric Miller comes out of nowhere and holds P4 right now. Oh, as Mitch McConnell takes P1 with a 36.7. Oh my God.
It's happening again. We're looking at a great qualifying session. We've got top 6 are within half a second.
Mitch McConnell has a Sector 1 time of a 33.105. Honored Sundar also has the same exact sector time. Mitch McConnell took Sector 3 faster than any other driver, but just by a tenth.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're driving the same car too. So obviously, between those being 2 very top tier drivers and maybe the Porsche having just some good luck here at this track, it's good to see this field shaping up in a way that it maybe nobody's going to get out scotch-free. And we might not have that type of P1 lead. We might be seeing a battle, amongst the top 5, top 6, all the way.
You're not going to believe what's happening right here, Jet. When he comes across the line, Riley Muir just takes P1 with a 36.4. He's a half a second off of his best time that he just did. Now he is on pole position again. He's invalidated his lap, as well as we have Mesa comes at it with a 136.3. They're the 10 faster than that driver. You have Masachero in P4. Oh my God. What is happening?
Yep, top 7 within a second. I mean, it's great to see. We've also got 3 different manufacturers in that top 7. Or actually 4, excuse me, and same number in the top 10. So it's great to see that type of balance of performance, that it really kind of, no matter what car you're driving, you've got a shot if you've got the pace, and we've got some really good top tier drivers.
Last race we saw drivers from P1 to P18 only a second off of each other, and now you have P1 to P6 holding what is less than half a second off each other, as every other driver is now pulling away from the best quality times, as Josh Willis is holding P11 with holding about half a second on his delta. He might prove to be better off right now. But you have Anirudh Sundar, one of our fastest drivers of the league last season, as well as Riley Muir, both in P2 and 6.
Yep, if Willis is half a second up here, he could definitely jump up to between 6 and 7, maybe 8th place. So this could be a big jump. Yep, there he goes into 7th.
Jumps to P7. Anirudh Sundar holds P3. So you have the Masachero. You have 2 Masacheros in 4 and 5 again. This team is they're aliens.
They're very consistent. They're tight. They're super close up and down, and obviously they're very tight knit as well. So good on them. I'm really excited to see how this shapes up throughout the season. They have a great looking car too, by the way.
Absolutely, and with 35 seconds left on the clock, it's gonna allow Jason Provone to be one of the few drivers to be able to cross the line and go again with a track that's optimum. Temperatures of 133. He's already up on his delta. We're going to see him pull ahead just in a second. Only jumping to P11. That's how tough that top 10 bracket is right now. With the best times, you got to be sporting a 136 something, or else you're not going to be able to crack in there.
Yeah, with the optimum track and a little bit warmer temperature, as well as just not too much actual heat into the track. We've got a cloudy skies that just kind of allows that track heat to be built up by traffic. A lot of that is really just the number of cars that are out there. So, this makes for really, really great race conditions, as long as rain stays at bay and we're just looking at this kind of overcast type of scenario.
So the gap right now from P1 to P2 is 10 thousandths right now. We're looking at a 0.39 from Masachero to Mesa, who now hold P1 and 2. With this driver, I believe he has time. No, he has also crossed the line. So we're not going to see a faster time out of this Andreas here. We have Richie Geraldman, who's a driver is not known for being outside of the top 5, and he is in P16 right now through quali. As he is up on his time right now, he's going to go across the line and hopefully get a better position here, as he's only able to take P15. I am unable to comprehend what's happening here.
That does feel a little bit out of a little atypical for Richie. Maybe he just didn't have the greatest session. We'll have to see. I feel like being 1.1 seconds off of a 36. I know we can see faster time out of him than that, but Again, I mean, car setups, tire temps, all that make a difference in that session, as you can tell. I mean, you have two Porsches putting the exact same time in sector one. I mean, it's going to be really, really, really tough out there to try to gain an advantage by sheer pace, because this is a really tight field.
Yeah, and you can tell right now we have you know, P1 Mesa, Masachero P2, Manir 3, Sundar 4, Masachero 5, McConnell 6, Willis 7, Miller 8, Raza 9, Provolone 10. And then just going down the list here, you'll be able to see these drivers are really, it's really split. I will say from the live timing, we have 1 through 6 we're holding uh, times at the 136 mark, and then every driver after that was 137, with a huge margin for 138, jumping from P16 to 17, going into the 138s, 139s. Pickerel, who's a consistently fast driver, is in the middle of a pack, and I just did not see that being a possibility for him. He's shown pace in not only in the GT3 series but also the GT4. So we're really looking at a phenomenal start to the season. A giant shakeup for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like some drivers might have had some interesting quality sessions, because Pickrell, it looks like, has qualified behind another Audi of Professor Chronotis, and usually, actually, Chronotis in the Mercedes was very, very fast, especially at a few tracks. But I would expect Pickrell to be qualifying closer to where Chronotis is, so maybe he had just not the greatest qualifying session.
No, absolutely. And as Tadu stated in the chat, we have rain. 10 minutes out, it is gonna be pouring, but track's optimum right now. So I think the real strategy is to see how far you can get on those dry tires before having to actually switch.
Yeah, absolutely. With the track temp is starting to cool a little bit, but even at this temperature, if the track is dry with this much traffic and you're out there on wets, you're gonna blow them up. So with 30 minutes, you might be seeing some drivers coming in for wets. You might be seeing some drivers until the track kind of gets through the greasy and damp I guess progressions, might be trying to work their dries as long as they can. And if you can keep some temperature up somehow, you might be able to make it all the way with dries. I guess it's going to be really, really interesting to see how these strategies play out. Oh, I love that livery, the rich energy.
Yeah, this is a really nice livery done at the Tracklicious team. Who's it? Chronotis, I believe, is the one that's behind that one. And here was one that was done pretty hastily, but the Hendrick Motorsports. I kind of like it.
It looks
Yeah.
great. Yeah, absolutely.
As we are going into this race, we got the Tacos Locos team.
We got a car just exit the grid.
So one's exiting, but we're just going to stay right here for the moment. Let these drivers pass
like
by.
Some cars might not have hit drive. That's
in 3 minutes. We have light rain going into heavy rain, or medium rain. I think that's what that one is. I think that's medium rain, and then the plus sign is like, heavy rains.
Yeah, more so than just rain. It'll be interesting to see how the track's wetness progresses, because that'll ultimately dictate what type of tire you can even survive on. Really, until the track gets to damp to wet, you're probably going to be okay on dries. But once it does get wet, and you start having puddles and hydroplaning, then it's you're really, really, really having to baby the car if you're still on dries at that point, which for the 30-second hit you're looking to take, at about I would say a 1 second per minute, you're definitely looking at turning to wets being worth it within the first, I'd say 12 to 15 minutes of this race is when I would probably be seeing maybe some drivers coming in.
Absolutely. I think in at that time you would definitely be seeing whether or not it's even worth it to go in, because the rain will be down and it will be light. It'll be some light rain going into some medium rain, but it could just drop back down to cloudy skies. We don't really know. This is Zolder and Belgium, and it could be warm and still rain, and that's just how it is in the climate of this country.
It could be sunny and it'll still rain in Belgium.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
been there, done that. It's one of the most annoying things about the UK and Northern Europe is that you could literally just see the sun and it'll still be pouring rain at you, and it's not even cold. You're not shivering by any means. It's an I don't know. It's like someone's throwing a hose at you during the summer. The one thing that
Here it comes already.
yeah.
Wow. So the forecast now, this is very interesting with it already starting to rain a little sooner
That
than we
plus sign
expected.
is the heavy rain. The track is already switching from optimum to fast. But one thing that is interesting to note is while this team is new, the North American Peruvian Sim team, they are proving themselves to be a top 5 finishing team, not only on the grid but for all 3 drivers, which is insane.
Already got a greasy track now. So
Oh my gosh. 2 drivers go through drive-through. Green, green, green. Chan and Mantone are both on drive-throughs. That's unfortunate. They're going to have 3 laps to serve that penalty. Going through this first corner.
Yeah, now we're starting to look at strategies changing a little bit, because now with the track already greasy at the race start, we could be seeing it wet within the next 6 to 10 minutes, and at that point, you're looking at definitely a few seconds better on wets once it's wet than on dries, and it probably makes sense to switch. But
yeah, we already have a driver, Eddie Chan, that dropped into the pits. We have 2 drivers, Honored Sundar, Ray Frias, who also started from the pits, actually as well as Wang. Going through this chicane, it looks like there's a lot of traffic.
yeah, so you're still seeing some pace here, even on the dries, with the track being greasy and not quite damp or wet yet. But as that wetness continues to build on the track, you're going to start seeing a lot more slipping, a lot more understeer.
Oh my God, Jerry Shirk is not having a good day, as he is held up.
It looks like he hasn't suffered too much damage of any type, so hopefully he can keep going. Now, I mean, rain's an equalizer, so strategies can get you further. If he just sticks with it and stays, pretty clean, he can still have a good race.
So we see Riley Mears still holding P3. We just to clarify, we have car number 5, 3, 188, 14, 84, and 314 all involved in a racing incident, as well as cars number 86, 502, 404, 314, 5, and 67 continue to have a racing incident not only 10 seconds later. And then multiple drivers had some similar incidences. Yeah, you hate to see it on the opening lap, but a lot of things happen due to this rain, and it is only going to progress and get heavier as the 10-minute mark shows another heavy torrential rain setting. Oh, this is unfortunate. These drivers hopefully have put on wet tires.
If I'm Riley right now, I'm probably at maybe
that's contact.
Yep. A few of these drivers are probably going to want to look at going in for their tires right now, because this track is going to get wet, and you're definitely going to have better pace out of the wets here in a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how they time it, because the wets, you can still kind of warm them up if you get them on. If you get them on now, you might time it well where you still have temperature in them. But if you get a little too late, we're starting to see it. We're starting to see the lack of grip.
Not only lack of grip, but Josh Willis comes in and he's going to be now maintaining P4.
And we have spray.
And
yeah, we got a couple cars going into the pit. It looks like that might have been one of the Masacheros.
Yep, it does look like that. So you have Riley Manier holding P5, Josh Willis in P4, P3. Sorry.
Yeah, we're starting to see spray out of the back of the cars, so it's only really a matter.
Oh my God! These drivers are losing control.
Yeah, should have gone in. It's rough. It's a tough situation. Everybody's trying to find that pace, trying to kind of essentially overcut the opposite. Maybe trying to get to their position before they pit, but that's a losing gamble as time goes on.
So the Masacheros have all pitted besides, so the entire team has pitted.
That's going to work to their advantage.
Besides Diego Masachero is the only driver from that team that has not pitted, but
I'd be looking for him to come in on this lap.
Absolutely. We're seeing the track is now damp, and it's even going to be heavier rains from 3 minutes to 10 minutes off now. We still have 25 minutes left on this race. There's no way you can stay on dries right now. I
guess, yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. Diego still looks like he's got some pace on his dries. Maybe if he's building his gap in first place, then he'll stay out, I would think. But if his gap is starting to shrink once drivers get their wets on and he starts seeing some of the mid-pack drivers finding pace, he might want to go in and make that switch. But it does get less and less worth it in a way as the race goes on.
See Andrew Pickrell in P10 right now. He's going to be attacking Yurt. Two drivers have gone in. Reggie King and Yurt have jumped into the pits.
Yeah, the track is wet now. You're starting to see reflections, puddles. You're going to see a lot of hydroplaning on the slicks. You should definitely be with this forecast. If it were me, I would have those wets on by now.
So Diego Masachero, who was in P1, has gone into the pits, as well as Reggie King and Yurt. We have Otto, Mentone, Wildebeest, Coyle, all in the pits, as well as Barrera, Hummer, both the Chans. I believe the Chans jumped out into the pits originally, so they might have just called their race from the start. It'd be unfortunate, as we see Constable Cody Wassam in P28. It's not a usual place for this driver to be in at all.
No, it's the rain does crazy things.
Absolutely, it's a great equalizer, but Barrera also has a drive-through penalty, so we're gonna see him have to make that time up. And that is a 30-second time change. So everyone is aware. So our cameraman's a little slow on direction there. You see Eric Miller in P4. He is not going to go into the pits. Maybe he started in rain, in wets. The track is now wet.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty gutsy move at that point, but I mean, especially if the rain hadn't panned out at all, they wouldn't have lasted. He would have had some blow-ups by now, I would think. But if that was his strategy, and as bold as it may have been, it could very well pay off.
And one of the things that I feel like I'm coming back to this too much, but this team, the Naps team, post getting their wets on, are now holding a consistent pace with each other in P12, 13, and 14. And what we can see out of the race leads here is their best times were 1:44.4, and no one has been consistent on that time. They're already losing seconds off their that best time, and we're 4 laps in, and this rain is going to get even heavier within another 10 minutes. Jet, I mean, this happened to us last week, but you almost think it would have been best to start on those wets. Whoever did start on the wets would have been sitting in P1 and holding it for the rest of this race.
Yeah, I mean, it really would depend on how their first few laps on the wets would have gone, what the temperature would have been, and their PSI. It might have been hard to maintain while the track was still dry. But you know, the hard and fast rule is that if you can't choose between wets and dries, that you're usually better off on your dries. So most drivers would have definitely started on their dries at that point, but yeah, the strategy to the sooner that you would have come in once you see that the track was starting to rain, it probably was going to work to your advantage. So those who pitted early, we should be seeing contact.
Eric Kakassian and Mike Burkhoff make contact. That is.
Looks like Gukassian kind of spun out of the turn there and didn't leave any room on the track for Burkhoff to get around him.
Absolutely. It's an unfortunate racing incident, but it looks like Gukassian was able to flip that car back onto the track and keep going. Not losing too much time. He's only going to drop down to P11, I believe. So we'll take
One thing I've noticed about Eric Gukassian in the portion of the wets is I feel like he is very good in the wets, and I personally feel like a lot of that probably does come from his actual I guess real life wet track day experience. So hopefully he bounces back and can still stick around that top 10.
Absolutely. As we see Ali Rasa in the TWP Racing holding P13, but he's going to have two consistent drivers that were holding pole position come push at him. Now, it should be noted that Richie Geraldman held the fastest time on the fastest lap so far with a 1:43.6, and he was probably able to do that off of the start because he is not. His last was a 1:46, so he's already 3 seconds off his pace, as well as every other driver on the track right now is already a second and a half off their pace. That's Riley Manier and Josh Willis. We'll go to Provolone looks to make a move on Diego Masachero here.
Yeah, we wouldn't be having this type of a race on in conditions right now. So who was it that went off? Was that Rasta?
That was Jay Barrera. He's just not able to hold his own right now, and it's unfortunate because this is a driver can do well. Jorge Barrera's a great driver, and it just seems to be he's fighting his car through this series so far. He had some unfortunate racing incidences that may have caused the damage initially, and now he's just trying to hold on to some sort of pace. It was car number 23 that he had contact with within the first minute and a half of the race. And
it does look like the Aston Martins are starting to kind of cut their way through the pack in the wet. Maybe they've got some decent. There's so much of your setup that you aren't able to change. Some of them might have started on dry tires with a wet setup and were able to go to wets. Mm-hmm. But it looks like the Aston Martins are really having some good pace in this condition. Between Provolone, Miller, a lot of guys kind of seeing some positions that they weren't in the last race.
Yeah, and that was some lap traffic by car number 23. I don't know exactly what's going on with Coyle, but he is kind of... Oh, he pulls himself into the pits. I don't think he's able to control his car that well. Jason Provolone was able to cut these drivers apart and he is now sitting between a sandwich that he created, and when he overtook Diego Masachero there.
Yeah, he might want to look at not using so much curb on the exit. It's starting to get a little bit wet, but again, he's still having some really good laps.
Mm-hmm.
What's his delta for this lap?
Jason Provolone's?
Yeah.
His delta, it doesn't show the deltas anymore. That's only through qualifying. But what we can see about Provolone right now is that he is a minute and 6 seconds off the race lead. His last lap was a 145.3, and his best lap was actually that same lap that he just did. So he might be on dries or on wets, because Masachero's best lap was last was a 146 flat. Diego's was a 145.2.
Which I think they're all on wets now, correct?
Yeah, correct. They're all on wets. The Naps team is all on wets, and Mesa just pulled off a 145.3. But I don't think it's going to matter too much. Even though we're getting into we're on a wet track and it's going to continue to be wet, you still have Mitch McConnell, whose last was a 145.3, and I don't know if that driver is on wets or not. You know, I will try to do this one maneuver on camera and see if this actually works. It shows that Mitch McConnell is on wet tires. Just going over, it shows that Riley Manier's on wet tires, and Josh Willis is on wet tires, and Eric Miller's on wet tires, and Cornotis is on wet tires. Geraldman's on wet tires. Pickerel's on wet tires. And Sundar's on wet tires. There's no way all of these drivers made the correct notion to switch. They are all holding high positions right now. Oh, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what information that they had that would have clued them into how wet this track was going to get, but very smart as it seems to be working out very well for all these drivers that have not that either have pitted and got wets or haven't had to pit and started with wets. Wow, very gutsy, but also very.
Oh, that is an incident right there. Is Josh Willis and Mitch McConnell definitely getting some contact as they were going down that corner.
Yep, Willis has had contact in that corner in the last race, so I guess we'll see if his.
There's absolutely no way. Yeah, I don't believe he has wet tires on. If he did, there's no way he would have outbroke himself on that and taken such a wide stance. It does look like Josh Willis has good command of his car right now, so maybe he was on wet tires to start. There's just, I mean, the function to see the wet tires on the basic HUD is technically broken. I've had it where people have told me they're on wet tires and it's saying dry, so it's hard to tell whether or not that function is truly accurate, but we just don't know. And if it is true, then we do see what played into effect. It's terrible for the Naps team, as they are now a midfield team during this race with Mesa in 12, Masachero in 14 and 16 respectively. Oh, that is unfortunate for those drivers to start out that way.
Yeah, here's another Aston Martin that seems to kind of maybe be punching above its weight in the wet right now.
Yeah, like you were saying, Eric Miller's a great driver. He's a consistent driver, but I mean, if you told me who's going to be in the top 5 right now, I would not have said him. I would have said, like, oh, there goes Josh Willis, very wide.
Looks like Mitch might be looking to make a move, but at the same time, Mitch is going to have to brake a lot earlier on T1, so we'll see how this shapes up for him this time around.
Yeah, he is only 3/10 off of Eric Miller here, so it's
It does seem like a tough pace to be able to extract out of the Porsche if he's on dries. But if so, then man, he's really masterfully running that Porsche with what he's got.
yeah, it's possible that he does truly have the wets on, and he just had a mistake through that corner. It is. I mean, we are in wet conditions, so having these drivers make mistakes, and as you can see, that is the car number 23, I believe, blue flagged out of the way. And part of the Track Delicious Sim Racing community is that there's some good guidelines and rules, and one of those is at your convenience, try to step away from being involved in a race if you're being lapped there. So just give space. And that driver
Yeah,
did do that
generally
correctly.
you want to stay on your line and run your race and not do anything unpredictable. But at the same time, if you've got cars battling and you're going down a straight, maybe just coast and brake and let them kind of get into the turn and keep their battle going while you just kind of keep your speed and make sure once you're through the turn on the exit that you haven't lost very much time and you're just kind of right behind that battle. But blue flags in our community don't mean just straight up pull off the track. There's some people who seem to believe that, but that's just not the case.
Oh, absolutely. Never pull directly off the track.
I don't even mean off the track. It's like pull off it on a straight. Go on the inside on a straight, which still that's just not that's unpredictable, and it also sets you up for a bad exit on the next turn.
Yeah, it looks like Pickrell had a slight incident, like a mistake that he made right there. It allowed Honored Sundar to gain his position. As we see, I think that's Bravo in just some lap traffic. He's the lap traffic there. Nope, it's not him. It's going to be Santiago Orozco. That's from the Tacos Locos team. A lot of Latin names we got going on here. Oh, as S. Mantone, don't know when that happened, but he has been disqualified from this race. Car number 5, who was involved in 1, 2, 3 racing incidences, it's been disqualified.
Yeah, that's rough. It's tough if you don't have a whole lot of experience in the wet. And our league, it's always a possibility with the way our weekends are set up and weather variability. So, hopefully these drivers can, especially the newer drivers, can kind of start to get a little bit more experience in the wet, and we kind of start to see a reduced number of incidences. But it was a wild start out there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. We saw a lot of incidences, and it's tough to see the Insight Racing, but they have been in a battle of their own. But they also have been part of the lap traffic, and it's great for all drivers involved that they've been able to maneuver out of the way to allow for safe driving to occur. As Santiago Orozco overtakes Otto and Hendricks Motorsports there. That was a pretty clean overtake. And
yeah, Santiago's been practicing a lot. I'm glad to see some pace and some success in this race for him. He's definitely dedicated and really likes really loves to race and definitely has a job that I would envy. Loves to drive, so I'm glad that he's finding success out here, and that practice and that time with our server and stuff is paying its dues.
Yeah, and one of the drivers that was an open lobby driver a week ago, Ali Rasa, has shown to be a really good driver. He had some inconsistency issues during that open lobby race, but he's holding his own against Elroy Meza, who's in P12, really fighting on the back end of there. But I think this is what you were saying initially, is that these Aston Martins are really finding their pace in the rain over some other cars right now.
Yep.
as we'll go on board with this driver to see how he's going to take this. And I know this is kind of exciting, but we have our race leads here that are only less than half a second off each other. I just wanted to see real quick where their gap is, truly, but don't think it's enough for them to make a move just yet. As Rasa has, oh, he takes the inside there.
Yep, it looks, I don't know if it's sidewall or a little bit of chassis flex or just the way the suspensions are maybe set up as is, but it looks like the BMW is just having a little bit of problem kind of keeping that grip on the way out of turns. And so, yeah, he's able to kind of get on the attack if he stays patient through the apex and works on that switchback technique. He could be around Mesa here really soon, which is there it goes. Yeah,
just went a little wide there. So
can't quite get that exit down. He's just a little bit too skittish. Just kind of getting some understeer out, which tells me that maybe his suspension's a little stiff.
Yeah, now you have the Naps team in P13, 14, and 15. It's unfortunate for them, but they'll still gain some points from that, as we see Honorud Sundar is about half a second off of Richie Geraldman, who I guess that should be the main focus, is that Richie Geraldman came back from P16 or 15, I believe, and is now holding steady at P6.
Good to see that pace out of a Porsche. He's climbing back up with McConnell and Willis, and so if oh no, you're talking Richie, right?
Yeah, the Aston Martin.
Oh yeah, no, that is another one that seems to be working its way through the pack.
And another interesting one is Chronotis from the Rich Energy team. He's in P5, and it's a driver that must have really thought about putting on those wets. I think a lot of these drivers must have thought just go with wets and gambled, and it paid off. As you can see, the top 10 didn't have to switch to didn't have to pit at all, and this isn't a mandatory pit race, so it looks like they just all played in their favor.
Yeah, that's correct, because when if you start on a fully wet setup with wet tires, you've also got your wet suspension, which is a little bit softer, allows you to kind of put that weight on the wheel that's really trying to steer you through the corner. And so there's all sorts of advantages of having a fully wet setup in this condition versus just wet tires.
Honorud Sundar is neck and neck with this driver, Richie Geraldman. He's going to take the inside and possibly stick it.
Oh, looks like Richie got more speed on the exit. Maybe coming up on. Oh, didn't quite get enough space in there, but might have slid around a little bit if he got a little wide on that curve, because these curves on this track can be deadly and wet.
And he is holding it. Honorud Sundar now is P7.
This is a great performance out of Miller, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
The Aston Martin, but the consistent drive. He's staying patient. He knows not to outbrake himself, and where his possible attack points are. With 3 minutes left, I would probably imagine him just probably settling in at the the P3, but down these straights, it does look like he might be gaining on the Porsche ahead. So we could see a position change, a nice overtake here as we get closer to the end of the race. But Willis is also putting pressure on Mir right now. So
he is.
That three-way battle. I mean, depending on that could go either way in the next 2.5 minutes.
And with those drivers neck and neck, I just wanted to quickly take a look there. But it looks like Raza's in a battle of his own for P11 against Eric Gakassian. And I believe he gets ahead of him right here. Yes. It's Ali Raza in P11 now over Eric Gakassian. Never have I seen a race where these drivers are so close in their times, in their consistency, in their pace, that it's just, they are bumper to bumper in these GT4 cars, and it is just absolutely maddening. Look at, he got the better
Look at
run
this.
there.
What an amazing exit from Miller. This really puts the top 3 into gambling territory. It's really going to be interesting to see how they come into T1.
They're going to go too wide through that.
Oh,
Oh,
is there contact between
oh
Miller?
my,
No.
oh no.
Yeah, Miller took that inside line. It forced him a little wider than he would have liked to have been. Hopefully,
Miller.
he's able to get back up into the podium, but that's unfortunate that the wetness, I think, got him a little bit more understeery than he was hoping, and he and Rudy collided.
Josh Willis
Right.
holding P1 is going to be in the lead now with Riley Manier in P2 and Mitch McConnell in P3, Eric Miller P4. That is unfortunate for Eric.
We will still have one more lap, so we'll have to see how things progress.
He had such a great run. That can't be mistaken.
Again,
he had such a great exit.
Yeah, that was really good. And again, it was probably one of those places where it felt like maybe his only chance to make that move. But that T1 is such a sweeping turn. It's you know, it has some kind of easily understeery vibes. It's a lot like Cops at Silverstone when you saw that contact between Hamilton and Verstappen, where you get in there with a little bit more speed than you used to, whether you had a toe or just a good exit, but you're on the inside. It can force you wide. And sadly, that ended in contact. But it looks like he has gotten around Sundar relatively easily, and he's back in.
No, that's Mitch McConnell.
Excuse me. Oh wow, he got around. Oh, so he's back in the podium.
Yeah, we have Eric Miller, who's just overtaken Mitch McConnell for P3, and Mitch McConnell P4, en route Sundar P5. So you have 2 drivers of the Betelgeuse team that are. Oh, except look at this.
McConnell's not given up yet.
He's not.
Miller might have had a little bit slower exit. He used a little more curve than he would have liked in T1. So we'll see how. I really think this next straight right up here after this right-hander is going to be kind of a determining factor on if he can create a gap on McConnell, or if McConnell can stick with it.
Well, the issue here is that this is 2 Porsches trying to come at a Aston Martin, and as we know so far from all the other drivers, the Aston Martin has shown to just be a better rig.
Oh, did Willis? That looks like Josh Willis had it off, and now he is falling back.
Oh no, that is Josh. Riley Manier is going to once again possibly take P1.
Merely sheer luck. I mean, that
you hate to see it, but Josh Willis is in the middle of a Betelgeuse sandwich, and he's holding P4, but he's trying to go for P3 right now. There's Eric Miller. Oh, look at that. He's going side to side. He's not going to give him any room, but he got no room on that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you look at who's inside, and he's trying to force his way inside. There's really nowhere else for anybody else to go.
Absolutely, as Chronotis almost was able to take that, but I believe on the straight he's going to be able to. Josh Willis,
did pull ahead of Chronotis.
Yeah, P5. It's an unfortunate end to his race, but he still holds in the top 5, which is good by any standard, as we see drivers starting to cross the line here.
That wet strategy for a lot of these guys paying off. That was.
And Masachero with the drive-through in P12. Looks like Ellard Meza was not able to find his groove. He's still in the midfield here. Might try to make a move against Eric Cassian as they go against the line. But
it doesn't have the pace. Cassian's getting that exit. It just doesn't seem to be working for the BMW out of turns right now. Oh man.
Oh.
That's.
He gives it back to him.
I don't know. that's a tough one because I think the Gaussian's Porsche did break a little earlier than it needed to, and lost pace, getting a little defensive. Man, you don't really like to see that type of contact, which is a little unnecessary. But again,
Yeah.
it's just drivers trying to get that position. I mean, when you're in that position, it's you know, armchair quarterbacking from up here is much different than when you're in that situation. There's points on the line. There's pride.
Absolutely. You see some of the drivers finally crossing the line. So we'll go over to it. The session has ended. We have Riley Manier, P1, Mitch McConnell, P2, Sundar, P3, Josh Willis, P4, Chronotis, P5, Geraldman, P6, Pickrell, P7, Snyder, P8, Raza, P9, Gakassian, P10, Mesa, 11, Masachero, 12, Keen, 13, Masachero, 14, Bravo, 15, Yurt, 16, Wildebeest, 17, Orozco, 18, Hummer, 19, Barrera, 20, Wang, 21, Provolone, 22, Coyle, 23, and Mantone disqualified from the race. That is unfortunate. And it looks like from the times we have
Look
here,
at the final gaps. I mean, 0.4, 0.1. You got a lot of them under a second. It was a nice tight finish for a lot of
yeah,
cars.
and Richie Geraldman holds the fastest lap out of any of the drivers, and he probably was able to do that from the start. Oh, and look at that, Henri Sundar P30 from to P4. Definitely, he'll take that. What a great race from Sundar and all the other drivers. As we hopefully have some of the winners, and Riley Manier, great, great race. A little lucky at the end. I don't know what happened to Josh there. We were out of camera on that, but you're able to sneak by his incident and collect P1. How did that feel? Did you start on the wets?
Did start on the wets. My pressures were at like 37, and I was in trouble at the start. But then it started raining on the warm up lap, and I was like, okay, sweet, this was worth it. This is a good idea, and it just made total sense. I got really lucky.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It
it
definitely
was
paid off.
from our perspective, going on the wets that soon when it looked like maybe rain was going to be 10 minutes out was definitely it felt gutsy. But yeah, just as the formation lap started, it started to rain, and good call on that wet setup, because it looks like the wet tires along with maybe a little bit softer suspension helped cars versus the cars that were on dries and just had to go in for wets.
Yeah, I decided that right away when I saw, because at about like 30 seconds or maybe like a minute left, it jumped from 10 minutes away to 3 minutes away, and I knew that like it was gonna hit like fast as hell, because I know that we run a certain multiplier here, so it was gonna come fast, and I just said wets was the smart move, and it played out. It worked out perfectly.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like there was at least 10 drivers that initially started on the wets. Um, was that were you talking to your teammates about this, or was it just like you just gambling here on the wet tire strategy? Because it definitely paid off. Because you got to think during quali, the Naps team had pole position P2 and P5. Like you got to think like that was going to be a hard race against all three of those drivers being up there.
Yeah, I knew those guys were fast. It was going to be tricky. But with about 30 seconds left, we saw it switch to 3 minutes away, and I just started yelling like, "Go wet setup, go wet setup," because I knew pitting in this whole thing was going to be a death sentence, and it just worked out. We got lucky.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Riley. It's it worked out for you twice now, so that's great points for the team, but also great points for yourself in the driver's constructor. So that's great. Yeah, anything to add, Jet?
No, congratulations on just the consistency and not making any mistakes. And even when you and Miller had that little bit of contact, you kind of were able to keep your cool and keep the car going. And congrats.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Eric Miller,
Hello, guys.
Flying Lizard Motorsport.
Yeah, I had to represent, I mean, there's a lot of other athletes out there, but there's only one Flying Lizard today, so I had to really represent.
Well, that was definitely a great second race. Congrats on the P2. It looked like Aston Martin's up and down the field were kind of finding pace against some of these other cars, especially the BMWs. How did you feel? Did you feel pretty comfortable in the Aston once the rain started coming?
Yeah, I've always really felt comfortable in the Aston in the rain, and then just made the strategy call, like Riley said. Just with about 30 seconds to go, we were able to. I was happened to be in the pit box or pit chat with Josh just because I didn't have any teammates tonight. So luckily, Josh gave me the heads up, and I listened to him, and it paid off. So kudos to Josh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his race didn't go as well. But yeah, it was a
Absolutely.
really intense battle. Felt like we were running pretty much nose to tail the top three for those last few laps, and anything could have happened. I
No,
haven't
that
really
was
gotten a chance to look at the that T1 contact. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'm gonna assume it was some kind of racing incident. I didn't really.
I would. I'd take it that we were actually in the helicopter view because we saw your incredible exit out of the final
Absolutely
chicane onto
incredible,
that straight. It looked. I mean, it looked like it's just one of those turns. It's kind of like cops, right, where you kind of put your nose in, but once you get on the other side, you might be a little bit wide compared to who you're battling
Yeah,
with.
it was just one of those moments where as a race driver, you got to go for the gap. So
Yeah. No, I mean,
I think I was gonna get another
congrats
chance to
on-
pass Rudy. So I figured if P1 was gonna be possible, that was it. So
Yeah, and I'm trying
and
to
that-
find it. Was it towards the middle? Because it looked like it was one of the last laps, but I am not.
it was the
seeing-
second to last lap, I believe, or third to
Oh,
last
here
lap.
it is. It didn't show the
2
marker, but
laps.
perfectly through your view. You had such a great run. We were so excited for you, and it was just so devastating. But you were able to still pull it back. You know, you got back on
Yeah,
track.
I was
and-
surprised to see. I mean, part of it came from Josh's misfortune, and part of it just came from having to battle Mitch back to get that P2. So I mean, I really Mitch passed me right after I spun, and I was able to really get back on in the attack and
This
make
is what.
position back quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you're able to look at it, but we have it back on replay, and it looks like you had a good run going into that turn, but Riley Manier was just turned. You guys, there was not
Yeah.
enough room for you to maneuver anyway.
I think Riley was expecting you to probably be. I mean, you were a couple meters
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
of
couple-
him.
I'm gonna.
a little sharper on
over.
that, for sure, is where he thought you were gonna go.
Yeah, I'd be honest. I never really got into that part of the track all race, so it's kind of unfamiliar. I braked earlier than normal,
Sure.
but clearly wasn't early enough. So I think.
Yeah.
Well, congrats. I mean, congrats on fighting your way back into the podium even after you had that little incident.
Oh yeah. It was a tough race, but I mean, worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. And great job, Miller. It was exciting to see you up there. I mean, we were just talking about, like, where did we see, like, the top, 5 being at the start. And because of qualifying, it was a massive upset when the rain hit, the great equalizer. And you showed your consistency.
Yeah, that was the main thing. I mean, there's a few moments where I could have easily lost it and just did delicate throttle control and kept it straight, and that was the main thing, just not spinning, not losing it. So
Nice. It paid off. Congrats.
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Thanks for the points.
Yeah, can use next week though, so I'll be glad to have teammates back next week.
You're out next week, you said?
No, I'll be glad to have teammates. Yeah, I'm gonna be actually out
Oh.
next week, so you guys are gonna have to
Yeah.
pick up the slack.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's it for you. Thanks, Miller, for joining us. And that'll be it from Jet and myself. We do have a I believe we start the GT3 series on Sunday, and as well as the Porsche Cup the week after that. And we're gonna have
Actually, no, this Saturday will be
the Porsche Cup. Okay, so the next race will be the Porsche Cup this Saturday, and then the GT3 season start as well as on Sunday. So just come back for that. We have that on the schedule. And
Be a big one.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys. Take care, Internet.